I'm making this video if it's the last thing I do. I call myself a content creator because I make content, and the thing is, so can you and so can everybody else, and you don't need a certain number of followers or likes or anything like that to call yourself a content creator. It's literally as simple as it is in the name. You create content. Content creator, mix it up however you want to say it, you get the idea. That's all you have to do. But for some reason most people don't do that, and I think the main reason for that is because it's a goal that they have to achieve and it takes them a minute to get there, and it's scary and it's freaking terrifying. I just spent like 20 minutes outside after 10 minutes in front of the camera trying to get myself to talk, and now here I am finally talking about how I spent 20 minutes outside not being able to talk to the camera. Probably didn't make sense, but that's fine. So there is 5 things I wanted to talk about when it comes to creating goals and actually achieving them, because that's something that I'm learning a lot about right now. For example, or not for example, but the reason I bring it up is because it's a goal for me to make this video and put it together well, and I want to do it a certain way, and I need to actually achieve it. So I can't let external things like emotions control that, which I know is a problem that a lot of people struggle with. So the first thing I want to talk about is making your goals clear and precise. So in my case, I needed to make it extremely clear and extremely precise. I needed to make it a clear and precise goal for myself. It was as simple as sitting in front of the camera and speaking to it about these 5 things that I found that have helped me. Now, these 5 things aren't necessarily golden rules, but they're just things that have helped me. So I know that as long as I can talk about my perspective and what I think about it, it's going to provide value to somebody. And as I've said in probably every video I've ever made, every piece of content, that is my goal at the end of the day, is to provide value to people. Because I could sit and talk in front of a camera all day, but if I'm just saying the same things over and over again, actually not even that, because sometimes saying the same things still helps people, but if I'm repeating things that aren't my own original thoughts, then it's not actually giving any value to anybody, because it's just something you could find elsewhere. So 1, make your goals clear and precise. 2 is to be consistent, which is one thing that I struggle with sometimes, and because of that, or that's partly because of me being really scared to pursue things. So like I have an intense fear of failure, and it will stop me from doing so many different things. I mean, I've wanted to make content since I was like 10 or 11, and now I'm turning 19 in like 2 weeks, and I'm just getting started. Sometimes a fear of failure stops you from being consistent, and it's not the actual fear that's stopping you, it's the lack of consistency. I'm terrified right now to be in front of the camera, and I have my girlfriend right here, and she's looking up every now and then, and in my mind it's like, oh, she must be judging me, but that's just fear, and I need to understand that, and I need to get over that and still be consistent in making this video. The third thing that I found that helps me is finding the next thing you need to do that takes less than 5 seconds. So less than 5 minutes. I heard this concept from, I forget his name, but the dude from Bigger Pockets podcast. He talks about how you need to find your most important next step, MINS or MINS. I think of minutes because MINS, but you need to figure out your most important next step, and the best way for you to do that is just figure out what you need to do that takes less than 5 minutes. So for me, it was set up this light, set up this camera, and sit in front of it. That's all I had to do, and then everything else would come naturally. And so far, I think I'm doing all right. But it's because I prioritized that next step and I broke it down. So it's not this whole freaking general idea of, oh, get in front of a camera, edit it all, make it all look good, create reels out of it. You get the idea. It's just do the next thing. Take one step at a time. Don't focus on all 10,000 of them. Ooh, I think I nailed that one on the head. The fourth thing that I've noticed that helps me out is to look for the simplest way to do things. So again, well, this one kind of ties back to the last one, is just looking at your most important next step. So the simplest way for me to do things is to sit in basically a home office and talk to a camera, because I don't need a whole studio. It's just simple. I set up a camera and a light, and sometimes I have a second one, and it makes it's just simple. I'm trying to overcomplicate it, so I have a lot to talk about, but you can't complicate something that's this simple, is my point. And then the fifth thing that I've noticed that's helped me out is to learn time management. I think one thing that stops a lot of people is or at least one thing that a lot of people say stops them, is they're not able to be consistent, and they're not able to get over their fear of failure, I guess you could say, because they don't have time to do it. It's something that personally I really struggle with, and I think a big part of it is procrastination, and procrastination comes from not wanting to do things that you hate doing. Like, you don't want to clean a living room because it's boring, so you'll procrastinate and you'll push it off until eventually you have to do it, and then it's not because you want to do it, it's because you have to do it. And the same thing goes for reaching any kind of goal. If you don't want to do it, then it's boring for some reason. And there's things you can do to make it less boring. It doesn't have to be stuck in this boring world where eventually you're going to be forced to do it. It just needs to be something that you can shift your perspective on, and that's all you need to do. So make it less boring. What was my main point? I have a terrible habit of like totally losing my point. Okay, time management. So if you manage your time almost backwards and you figure out what you can't change first, so like that might be a job, 9 to 5, you're working. Okay, so you have that every day. Just to keep things simple, I'll say Monday through Friday at 9 to 5, so that's however many hours a week, right? So that you can't change that. You can't move that around at all. That's stuck there. But then you have the time after that and you have the time before that. So you can prioritize it by the least flexible, like your job, to the most flexible, like your hobbies. So what I do is I will take my, the least flexible thing I can do, which is my day job, and it's whenever I work during the week, and then I figure out what hours I'm playing with afterwards to deal with less flexible things. So the next step down for me is MMA. It's something I'm interested in. It's like 5:30 to 7:30 Monday through Friday, but I don't have to go to every one. So that's a little bit more flexible than work. So work, and then I pick days I can go to MMA, and then everything around that I can figure out when I want to record, when I want to create content, when I want to do that kind of thing. So I spend that in between time, so to speak, doing things that are the most flexible, and that's allowed me to be incredibly efficient. So that covers everything, not everything, but some of the things that have really seriously helped me in terms of time management, in terms of setting goals and actually achieving them, whether it's business or school or work or a hobby. Those are the things that have helped me, so hopefully they'll help somebody else.